section. From Champagne and Charcuterie. I'm here today with episode 1, where we're going to be going over just a regular and a pretty standard charcuterie board. You can use this at any party, gathering, or whatever you would like. If you don't know what we are about, what are you doing? Watch the intro video. For today's video, these are the things you'll need: crackers of choice, grapes, 3 different types of cheeses, which we'll go into more depth about those later, olives, fruit spread, fruit of choice, which we chose apples, and 3 different types of meat. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So of course, let's start with the board. I have a smaller board because it's just going to be for myself and a couple other guests. So this would be for about 2 to 3 people. If you're going to have a larger party, get a bigger board. So we're going to talk about our cheeses first. So it's pretty standard to have 3 cheeses per board. It just kind of makes it look nice. You always want to have a soft and a creamier cheese. So today our choice is going to be Brie Cheese. What are the odds? So when you do Brie Cheese, it's one of my favorite actually because it tastes like butter cheese. It's so good. You're gonna unwrap it, and it looks like it might need to be unwrapped again, but that's just how it's supposed to look on the outside. So you'll set this down on your board. We have our Kobe Jack cheese. Now the reason for choosing this particular cheese is because it pairs wonderful with champagne. The sharp cheddar in it just pairs very, very well. So we're gonna cut this down a little bit smaller though, because this is a lot of cheese for just 2 to 3 people. So we're gonna cut this in half, and then I'm gonna cut it down to a triangle to kind of look like this. And then from there, just to make it easy for the guests, I'm just gonna cut it into little small square bite pieces. Okay, perfect. The next cheese that we're gonna have is going to be a sharp cheddar cheese. So once again, this is also another cheese that's very complimentary to champagne. So we're gonna just do the same thing to this one that we did to our Kobe cheese. We're gonna cut it in half. And then we're gonna make this one look like a little bit different just to give some variety to our board. So we're gonna cut it in kind of thicker pieces. All right, so now after you have all your cheese sliced and diced, you want to just set it on your board in a very cute and neat looking fashion. We're going to take these over here, set it down. So one thing that's very visually pleasing to guests is when you will have your cheese kind of in opposite spectrums of the board. So you have one in the corner, one in the middle, and one in the other corner. There's like, you don't have to do this, but it just looks really nice when you're pairing everything else up with it. Now we're gonna go to our meats. We have some prosciutto, salami, and capella. These are pork, so if you have guests that don't eat pork, just make sure you let them know that. So we're gonna just put them on here, pretty cute and fancy, pairing it next to the cheeses. To make it look very cute, you can just fold it in half and then fold it in half in a triangular form, and it'll kind of look like little flower petals. So you can just set them next to your cheeses. I absolutely love prosciutto. It's so good. It just tastes like bacon, but way better. So we're gonna just fold these all up, make them look nice. Once they're stacked on top of each other, they'll stay down. Now that we have our meat on our board, we're gonna move on to the fruit. So we have some grapes over here. Grapes is definitely a friend of cheese. Kitchen shears help so much with grapes because you can just cut them into little clusters. So that way it's really easy when your guests, oops, one run away from us, but that's why it's super easy when your guest grabs them. They don't have to like do one grape at a time or, you know, like pick up a whole chunk. So if you cut them in really small clusters and just place them around the board evenly, then it's going to just be way easier for when people go to pick them up and eat them. So we're just going to place a couple little clusters over here. Great. All right, now we're going to go to our crackers. So you can just lay these out on the board in a neat format as well. You can choose whatever type of crackers you like. There's a very big variety at this. So now that we have our grapes onto the board, kind of just push things a little bit closer together so we can fit the remaining items on here. So next we're going to get into our olives. So I have a little ramen can I'm going to set up here. Something so important about olives is that you want to make sure you let your guests know if they're pitted or not. So if they're not pitted olives, that means the center part has been removed. If they are pitted, that means the center part is on the inside and someone could break their tooth. So definitely just make sure you tell your guests if you have pitted or unpitted olives. These are going to be actually stuffed garlic olives. You can just get them at any grocery store or you can make them yourself. All right, so now that we got the olives on here, we're gonna move on to our fruit spread. So for today's fruit spread, we have a Smoky Peach Jam. It's so good. It literally smells like someone just grilled these peaches. So for the fruit spread, also berry jams go very well with cheese and crackers. So if that's what you prefer, if you don't like peaches, that works for you too. And then lastly, we have our fruit of choice. I chose an apple. You can use a different fruit if you would like. Pears, dates, plums, all go well with it. Or honestly, any fruit that's actually like in season pairs very, very well with cheese. So we're just gonna put a couple apple slices over here. And here we go. We have our finished board. Just a couple of quick reminders. We have 3 different cheeses on here. You always want to have a creamy cheese and then 2 harder cheeses. I personally chose to cut them up because it's going to be easier for the guests to just be able to grab one piece at a time along with the other things they would like on the board. But if you prefer to leave them whole and put a cheese cutter on your board, that's perfectly fine as well. We have a fruit spread, olives, grapes, and the fruit of choice along with some meats. So this does feed 2 to 3 people, so always keep in mind if you're gonna have a larger party to get a bigger board so you can accommodate more guests. Now let's get into the bubbly. Today's bubbly is Shandon Brut. So this champagne can be bought pretty much anywhere. I got it from Target. You can buy it from any liquor store, grocery store, Target, and you can find it anywhere. So the reason why we chose this one for today is because Shandon Brut is just a very common champagne. It pairs very, very great with sharp cheddar cheeses and Colby Jack cheese, which is why those were 2 of the cheeses that were on our board today. So pour up and stay bubbly.